Okay, so today I'm going to focus around we're going to focus this lesson around a compositional technique called the balance scale. So again, let's divide our paper up and we'll start working in small sections. So the balance scale is essentially this. It's essentially a symmetrical development. So when you have something over here, you have something over here, and it works really good for architecture, so for instance, and you don't have to draw this, but like say you have a building that does this. A lot of formal architecture has been contrived and designed like in this exact way. And so everything that happens on the left happens again on the right, and you end up with a feeling of stability, a feeling of formality, established, so like the dollar bill is designed with a tremendous amount of with a tremendous amount of balance from one side to the next. And so everything that you do on one side, you end up doing on the other side. And so this is going to be the unifying principle of our lesson today. Okay. So I'd like to, along with that, I'd like to use this time to also quickly review what we've learned with the human head. Okay, so in this here, let's do this. We'll create a small composition of head studies. And we'll formally balance them. So finding the middle, and the middle head. I want to recommend that when you're sketching a head, and for this I'd like you to draw along with me, the middle head will occupy the center space, like that, and equal distance this way and this way. We'll take this head over here and we'll have it in profile. So in order to quickly sketch a head shape in profile, we consider the box underlying and the circle that goes there. Okay? With this, we can do the same thing for the front. It's the box underlying and the circle. And this one will be three-quarter view. And here's an easy way to get yourself started on a three-quarter view. So because we're aiming at a formal design, we'll try to end at the exact same place. We'll try to have our height line up. It would be really good if this distance and that distance were equivalent, like this distance and that distance, when we finished. It's always nice to have the top space be a little bit smaller than the bottom space. Practicing horizontal and vertical lines with our crops. Okay, and so as you're working on something as straightforward as a diagram, the intention and formality of your composition will start to make it look good, okay? So if you take the head and you divide the space in two, like so, look at, we'll run through here. That's the position of the eyes. If you take below that and you divide that space in two, we can run through there. That's the height of the nose. That's this space gets divided in two. The bottom of that gives you the bottom of the nose. If you take this space and divide it in two, that gives you the position of the mouth. Remember when I did this in class? I went like this. I drew a box like that. And I asked us to think about it for a moment. And then to that box, I added this. And it's that third line. So here's our outline. And then this portion in here forms the critical inner structure that makes this box dimensional. So in the head, what you have is this. Okay, I'm drawing it on one side. And ideally, we could really just like appreciate this for a moment. Memorizing this exact shape will go so far in terms of helping you to draw the human head. Okay? This is the cheekbone. This is the cheek, the jaw, the brow, the forehead. Okay? And now it's your ability to take this and translate this to the other side of the form. Okay, notice these lines. When you have a cube, if you put light on it, say from this direction, you know that this side becomes the dark side. And this side may also be a dark side, or maybe a medium side. And that reinforces the drawing. Same here. This can be reinforced because what this is showing is the cross contour that the light would make when it hit it. The next most important skill is being able to accurately think through the cross contour of the center line. And then in class, we worked on learning the nose. And so the center line can become a center column just by adding a line to both sides. But remember, the distance here is going to be bigger than the distance there. And that's going to help it feel in perspective. And then the nose shape sits in here, so like horseshoe there. And here's the bottom line of the nose. You can say the nose is going to end there, and it's that V shape that we worked on, and it extends outwards. And now we're going to construct this head that's looking towards us. I'm taking the line from the brow that I started with. Here's the cheekbones coming in. A little bit of fat in the cheeks. The line of the jaw right there. The brow as it comes upwards into the eyes. The side separating out into the temple. Here's the center column again, but now these lines are going to be really straight. However, as it comes towards you, it will widen. So that one is coming towards you. And then as it goes back and over, it will thin. And it goes back in till where it hits the chin, and then widens out as it comes forward over the chin. And I'm really exaggerating it, but it helps. And there's the bottom of the nose. I can put the bottom of the nose here. And here's the top of the nose. And you can see a little bit of the bottom plane of the nose. In profile, over the cheekbone, this line, the brow, this, and then over into the chin. Here's the chin. Remember that the dental arch here projects forward, comes out, the nose turns up. The nose connects up through here. It comes up and sits in the brow, right in here. Here's the neck. It's bigger at the top, at this connection, than it is at the bottom. So let it thin as it drops. And the formality of our page design, I want to move this slightly that way. To do a better design. And I'm going to move this slightly this way. And I'm not sure why it is that I ended up taking this neck so much longer. And so I want to shorten it, making that my bottom point. And I'd hope to have a diagram built on a balance scale, okay? Okay. Ellipse practice. Be good if I could center this on that. In today's ellipse practice, I'd like to do this. I'd like to imagine that there's a person. This is a very serviceable model of a person, and I really recommend, especially for beginning composition, that you work with something just like this, where it's almost like a kind of like a little character in a jumpsuit. And what we're going to do is, once we have that, we're going to sketch ellipses that are at the character's eye level. And then we're going to lower from the eye level and we're going to grow. And raising up from the eye level, we're also going to grow. Oh, you know what I should do here? I'm so sorry. I, like, for a moment, lost track of the fact that we were doing a balance scale. So this is what we'll do. We'll take, and we're going to do one here, and we'll do one here. And then we'll do one here, and we'll do one here. And then we'll do one here, and we'll do one there, and we'll do one here. And notice how the diameter of these ellipses is changing to reflect the perspective. And then we'll do smaller ones in between. And then I'm going to crop this. And now we'll do one without a figure in it. And I want to make it match this. And this time with the ellipse, what I want to do is this. We're going to work with a vertical ellipse, and here's the center, and then we're going to turn over to the left and we're going to turn over to the right as though this thing was fanning in a circle. So these ones would be growing. All right, page 1, on to page 2. Here's a good way to establish a balance. Start with a circle, like in the center, and now let's do flat shapes that mirror each other in relationship to the circle. I'm just cleaning up the lines of my sketch. And this is interesting because this composition, because triangles have a tendency to, as when they're pointing in a lot of different directions, they have a tendency to be kind of aggressive. And I guess what I'm starting to recognize in this particular composition is, while it's extremely aggressive, it's also, it has a kind of formality to it, where it almost feels like it almost feels like an aggressive state. You know, it feels like some sort of system, like a government system. Like this would, if you were designing for like an evil government, if you had to come up with a logo for an evil government. something in this could be really good. It has the effect of like sharp teeth in a kind of order. I think I'm going to call it quits on this one. I like what happened with the effect of it. It's interesting, without, you know, the need to talk to you guys about this, I wouldn't have thought of it. Little centerpiece. Let's do the same with let's do the same with rectangular shapes. The trick on this one is going to be having it just not die. I mean, it's a kind of interesting proposition. I'm really curious what can be achieved with it. The stability is so formidable. It's really interesting how so early in this development we're running into one of the chief religious symbols of our world, and it's like you can understand why it is that a religion would develop a logo in such a way, like contriving stability, or making a meditation on stability or something like that. And okay, we'll use that and that as our flat shapes. I'd like to try one more example for the day, and actually I'm going to take this one and stretch it all the way to here. And starting out again with boxes. Okay. Equal distances. I'm aiming for equal distances, looking for equal distance. A lot of design happens in this zone, doesn't it? I unfortunately have not centered this. I would have liked to have hit right there with it. That would have been ideal, but I didn't. I could move it, but I don't have the time. What I want to do then is I want to start to practice curves on this. So let's take this point, and that point for our S. So I want to take my S and swing it like this. And I want to do the same thing this way. 1, 2, 3. And this is going to go like this. This is going to be a 2-point, which we've been practicing. And every time I do one on one side, I'm going to do it on the other. And this can oppose its direction.